So yesterday, there was what was called the Million MAGA March in Washington, D.C. And here's a picture that's out there of the Million MAGA March in Washington, D.C. So as you could see, there were a lot of people there. Though I have to tell you, there's some people trying to cut this down to say there weren't as many. Reports are saying that there might have been around 10,000 people there, maybe more. They did not get a million, I'm sure of that. Though there were other events that were going on throughout the country. Some people said this is Photoshop, that this is fake. Now, let me tell you, as a guy that's been a professional photographer, has done a lot of work in Photoshop. I mean, I'm not doing a great big analysis of it, but here's a comparison people have of, they say this is the original photo and this is the Trump photoshopped image. Maybe, but I got to tell you, there's a lot of differences between these. Like the flags are in different positions. They're being blown in different directions. And this supposedly Photoshop one, it's more dimpled. This one is not. And maybe they're doing manipulations to all of that to make it look like it's something different. You got me. I mean, if you know someone that Photoshopped it, maybe there weren't that many people in that particular place at that particular time when they took the bottom picture versus the top picture. I don't know. Anyway, I just wanted to give you that little side because people are saying, there's not that many people there. There aren't really people that like Trump. All right, this is from the New York Times. Thousands rally in Washington as clashes erupt. That's right. Was this thing peaceful? Yeah, it was pretty much peaceful most of the day. Was it one of those mostly peaceful protests? You know, it's interesting. There are similarities between the quote unquote mostly peaceful protests of the summer, which was marred by rioting, tons of rioting. And although I think, what was it, maybe 3%? I think that's a number, like 3% of those protests ended up in riots, which is still a pretty darn large number, if you ask me. It depends how you define riot. Anyway, thousands of supporters of President Trump protesting the early outcome of the election rallied in Washington on Saturday, earning a brief drive-by visit from the president himself and a day of orderly demonstrations that devolved into violence as the night wore on. The police made 20 arrests, including 4 on gun charges as counter-protesters and Trump supporters clashed in the streets. Throughout the evening, one person was stabbed, but his condition was unknown late Saturday. For most of the day, however, the crowds were under control, if boisterous, and many greeted the president with applause and cheers when he passed by in his motorcade, waving through the window as he headed to his private golf club in Sterling, Virginia. By early afternoon, demonstrators had fanned out for several blocks around Freedom Plaza. On Twitter, the White House press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany, offered an exaggerated assessment of the event, called the Million MAGA March, claiming that 1 million supporters had turned out. Put that as the 20,000th and 1st lie that they've told. All right. Accounts on the ground suggested that her estimate was wildly inflated. It's not like the 4th of July or anything, said a police officer who was stationed near Freedom Plaza, 13th and G Streets. He declined to give his name because he was not authorized to speak to the news media. But yeah, he added, there's a crowd down there. Even if short on numbers, the crowd was not lacking in enthusiasm for the president or outrage over the grievances he has raised over the past 4 years. Zenaida Owaka, 46, a Virginia resident, originally from Arizona, said she had been following Trump since I was a kid. He's not perfect, said Mrs. Okoa, who added that she supported Mr. Trump partly because of his immigration policies. Mr. Trump's brief visit on Saturday came one day after the last 2 states of the election were called. President-elect, not presumed president-elect, Joseph R. Biden Jr. won Georgia to finish with a total of 306 electoral votes, the same number that Mr. Trump won in 2016 and called a landslide. And Mr. Trump won North Carolina for a total of 232 electoral votes. Yes, so this rally, I would call it. I'm not sure if I would call it a protest. I guess it is a protest because people are protesting what they believe was an unfair and a rigged election. So there's certainly an element that believes that they are protesting what they see as an injustice, that they believe the election was stolen. So how does CNN look at this? MAGA March brings together Trump voters, far-right leaders, and counter-protesters, ending in some clashes. All right, CNN. Washington, D.C. Anti-Trump protesters clash with supporters of the president and law enforcement Saturday evening in the nation's capital as they tried to make their way to a hotel where Trump supporters were staying. At least 20 people were arrested, according to LaToya Foster, a spokeswoman for D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser. Foster said 2 officers with the D.C. Metropolitan Police were injured. The skirmishes came after a day of largely peaceful demonstrations by thousands of President Donald Trump supporters of all stripes, including including right-wing and far-right groups to protest the election results. Smaller groups of counter-demonstrators gathered downtown and near the Supreme Court in support of President-elect Joe Biden's electoral victory, which the president has falsely described as fraudulent. Many groups that attended the planned rallies have distinct core beliefs, but on Saturday were united in their unwavering support for the president. They included anti-government groups such as the Oath Keepers, far-right groups such as the Proud Boys and 3%ers, conspiracy theorists such as Alex Jones and Republican members of Congress. All right, so I'm not sure if they're saying Republican members of Congress are conspiracy theorists. They might have been there. Because they're saying conspiracy theorists, not just the conspiracy theorist Alex Jones. I don't know. That's kind of interesting, the way they're painting this. Yeah, so here's how David Frum, never Trumper, former George W. Bush staffer. Here's what was advertised. That's right. You Nazis were there, right? Were all you Nazis there? Like, this is what you were supposed to have. This is what this was, guys. Didn't you advertise this as a Nazi rally? Didn't you? Oh, yeah, I guess that's how some people see you all you Trump supporters. I mean, it is an interesting perspective that CNN has to say that, that David Frum. So let's admit there is an interesting coalition, right? So Trump people are a coalition of many different people, including conspiracy theorists like Republican congressmen, apparently. So how else does the left see all this? So I don't know who this guy is, Steve Marmel. I'm supposed to reason with these people. So, I'm guessing that this was legitimately from this rally yesterday. I don't know. Obviously, we see Confederate flags. We see Nazi flags. The Don't Tread on Me, military, then the thin blue line. Did anyone catch that this is a vendor selling stuff? That's what this guy is? I mean, I'm not going to think, and I'm not going to say that it's great that we have people selling Nazi flags at a rally. It goes against my own personal beliefs and comfort level that people, they're Nazis. But, you always hear people on Twitter complaining about, hey, you followed me, when they start complaining about what someone has to say. Did Trump really, did he court the Nazis? Some people believe he did, but whatever. There's like the 5 Nazis in the country that support him, and okay, maybe it's 500. I don't really know. And someone's trying to sell stuff to them. Whatever. But I bring it up because this is a perception of who the Trumpers are. What else down here? Actually, there was an interesting one that someone else put up. So Trump Pride. So it looks like pro-gay. I don't know if this is real. I'm guessing this is going to be real. And right in the background, Trump, make America great again, ban homo marriage. Yeah, it's a dichotomy of Trump supporters. It's another strange umbrella, and it's what's being brought together. Very interesting. I'm not going to either agree or disagree with any of this. I'm more inclusive. I like having more people in your tent and everybody wanting to be together. Oh, let's see. So Richie Torres, U.S. House candidate from the New York 15th District. This is from yesterday. About an hour ago, I was traveling from the Capitol to Hyatt Hotel when a MAGA demonstrator screaming from a microphone called me a homeboy in a suit. Sorry, MAGA, but the name is Congressman-elect Richie Torres. Maybe this happened. I don't know. To me, this is kind of more Antifa tactics and stuff that you hear Antifa saying. But hey, people are selling Nazi stuff. Maybe you have the people that would do that there. I don't know. But really kind of what was at the rally, what was going on. Trump supporters hold rally in Washington to protest vote fraud media. Hundreds of thousands of people from all over the country joined peaceful rally on November 14th in the nation's capital to show their support for President Donald Trump and his calls for election integrity as part of a movement called Stop the Steal. Supporters gathered at Freedom Plaza at noon and marched to the Supreme Court, protesting fraud allegations in the presidential election. People expressed concerns about election integrity and demanded every legal vote be counted. They also slammed mainstream media's depiction of rally-goers. I wonder why. All right. So essentially, it is a big tent. Roberto Joel Gutierrez, 18, an African-American student, said he came to Washington all the way from Boston, not only just for my president, but to support the United States of America. He said he was concerned about evidence of voter fraud, computer glitches, and observers being denied to watch ballot counting. He said that the media likes to portray a false narrative that all Trump supporters are white supremacists. But as you can see here, there's people of all races, Black, Asian, Hispanic. There's all types of people. Yes, there are all types of people. It's an interesting, growingly diverse coalition of people that support Donald Trump. I think it's kind of cool in a way. Okay, I don't know how many Nazis are in the left side of things, but certainly you have communists and socialists. I mean, they're out in the open with it. So yeah, no, things didn't go great last night. It was a peaceful demonstration during the day, but at night, just as the demonstration was starting to break up, Antifa, BLM came out. Oh boy, they weren't happy that these people came out, that this broad coalition came out. This is from Post Millennial. Breaking: Antifa mob assaults Trump supporters, including children, in Washington, D.C. A group of Antifa militants have assaulted a number of Trump supporters in Washington, D.C. on Saturday. These incidents occurred just as thousands of Trump supporters flocked to the nation's capital in protest of the election. The Million MAGA March was overwhelmingly peaceful as thousands gathered in the Capitol and even had a visitation by the president himself. As the day continued, activists began appearing and agitating attendees. Some footage is very disturbing, depicts a little girl being assaulted. So I'm not going to play these videos, but as I say here, there was heckling on both sides. Violence did not occur until people began dispersing. There's an image here of a guy who he got slashed in the face. I think that was mentioned in the New York Times article. Other footage shows a young Trump supporter fleeing for safety as he's stalked by Antifa. He eventually sees police and yells for help. Yeah, so this dude who later on made this, what looks like a bogus claim that he got that he got stabbed. He had this body armor on, which looks perfectly clean. Looks like there's no stab marks. We had a knife in here. It came out. Yeah, this 8-inch knife. You guy seems like he's full of it. Anyway, he was chasing down Trump supporters early in the day, That's how a lot of these things go. You see videos of the same people showing up early in the day, harassing, and then later, they get stabbed. Yeah, okay. Maybe you did. I have no idea, but you look okay to me. Oh, good thing you had that body armor on. Why did you have that body armor on? Huh? Why? Why'd you come to a peaceful rally with body armor on? I wonder. Anyway, The most disturbing piece of footage depicts a family being attacked by Antifa. A mother was seen attempting to flee the area with her small daughter. The daughter is eventually thrown to the ground in the middle of a fight. So I was watching this real time last night, seeing all these videos come in, and man, I was getting upset. I found it very upsetting. This is crazy stuff. Why do you need to assault? Why do you need to assault a little kid? What is wrong with you? You know why? Because they do not see the Trump supporters as humans. They are dehumanizing you, right? David Frum, are you dehumanizing people? Are you? With all these Nazis? Or they're Nazis, right? That's what you're doing. They don't see you. And there was this one dude, he got sucker punched from behind. Some guy just came up to him and boom, sucker punched him, fell to the ground. His phone came out, and there's this lady that she just, oh, there's his phone. She picks up his phone and starts to walk away with this big smile on her face. Look at the phone I got from the fascist. Yeah, you are dehumanizing people. That's what you are doing. These are your fellow citizens. I don't know. You're making them enemies. You're making them something else. In your mind, your twisted mind, they're not with you. They're not your fellow citizen. And this is something that on the right, you need to stop doing too. I see this, that they're evil. Like the response to this is, it's not so much unfortunate, but they just see this as like, well, they're evil now. Like there was this thing about the Satan is out now. I can see someone's going to get killed tonight. Satan's there. Come on, stop. They're misguided, in my opinion. They lack any real understanding of who the Trump supporter is. Not that tiny slim part that maybe is a white supremacist. They might be out there. I'll tell you what, though. As someone that tries to ride the middle a little bit more, is far more racist on the left, my friends. Far more. Like not even close. I'm sorry. Anyway, I will continue. More footage depicts Antifa stomping on a man's head. Absolutely. The guy that they stole the phone to, one guy knocked him on the ground, others were like knocked him on the head, stomped him. Guy was bleeding all over the place. He looked like he was out of it. Some footage shows people crying in fear as they are pursued by the militants. Right. So they chase down. I remember seeing this one. I'm not going to play these videos. You could find them on Twitter. But they were chasing the guy and the girl started crying. Like this guy and his girlfriend, like they were scared. You're monsters, in my opinion. Leave people alone. You want to protest, you want to counter-protest, say what you have to say. But don't chase people down. What's wrong with you? I'm sorry. It's not right. And you need to be careful on the right of becoming the monsters you hate. This is where this is heading if you keep demonizing these people as well. And you're literally demonizing and you're literally calling them demons, which is a little strange. All right. I'm not sure who Yossi Gestetner is, but he says the Nazi party had the SA, Sturmabteilung, Storm Division. A key SA function before Hitler came to power was to interrupt political events of other political parties by use of violence and intimidation. The SA was later changed to the SS. Who's really the Nazi? I know. I just said don't demonize. But these are the tactics of actual authoritarians, which Antifa, it looks like it was you out there, and Black Lives Matter. It looks like it was you intimidating and stomping on people. You're wrong. You should not be doing this. This is not the way we should be going. It's going to look like I'm a big Ann Coulter fan because I got a few things from her today. So let's see. Antifa prefer to fight with women, the elderly, and little kids. They don't stand a chance against the heroic Proud Boys. So another thing that happened is as the evening went on, Proud Boys were there and Proud Boys came out. I saw Drew Hernandez say Antifa was itching for a fight all day. I guess they didn't get to fight, even stomping people. So I guess the Proud Boys had enough. And where were the police? Where were the police? Muriel Bowser, where were the police? They were nowhere until the Proud Boys came out and had to clean up Antifa. And so there's reports that they beat the crap out of a lot of them, right? I don't know. Not a great look either. So what was mostly a peaceful protest for real all day was marred by Antifa, Black Lives Matter, and then the Proud Boys, who allowed articles like CNN and the New York Times to have some claim that it is, oh, see those right-wing guys? Yeah, they're the ones that did this. And yet, what do we do, right? What do? Do you just have Antifa stomp people? This is a problem. The police need to be involved. The authorities need to be involved. Stop staying out of it. Muriel Bowser, you are garbage. You should have been there from the beginning. You put people at risk. You got people stabbed. This makes me mad. Oh, and Coulter, I hope Trump enjoyed his golf game. Yeah, remember he went off to Virginia and all this stuff was going on. And people say, where's Trump? Where's your savior? Where was he? Well, I guess he did some tweeting later in the day. Trump blasts Antifa scum. Media after violence mars MAGA marches in D.C. President Trump lashed out against Antifa scum and the media Saturday night as violence continued in Washington, D.C., where pro-Trump supporters gathered for the Million MAGA March. In a series of Twitter messages before midnight, the president also blasted counter-protesters as human radical left garbage, retweeting a video that showed a man being sucker punched and kicked on a Washington street earlier the day. Human radical left garbage did this. That's what I was talking about. Trump accused Antifa activists of returning under cover of darkness to cause mayhem. I would say that's true. Claiming the pro-Trump crowd had sent leftists running for the hills during the daylight. I would say that's not true. President also make that 20,002 lies from Trump. President also blasted Washington. Well, we made it. I might have said 20,001 last week, so maybe 20,003. President also blasted Washington Mayor Muriel Bowser, claiming the Democrat was not doing her job, and urged the city's police force to get going, do your job, and don't hold back. Radical left Antifa scum was easily rebuffed today by the big DC MAGA rally crowd. Proud Boys, only to return at night after 99% of the crowd had left to assault elderly people and families. Police got there, but late. Mayor is not doing her job. Antifa scum ran for the hills today. All right, Trump, I get it. So this is from last night, being Saturday the 14th. What about today, November 15th? Another Trump tweet. Breaking news. This is from Daily Mail. Donald Trump admits for the first time that Joe Biden won the election, but immediately launches into Twitter tirade questioning the results as he repeats it was stolen by Democrats. President Donald Trump admitted for the first time Sunday morning that Joe Biden won the presidential election. He won because the election was rigged, Trump tweeted in reference to his Democratic rival, then immediately launched attacks on election integrity. No vote watchers or observers allowed. Vote tabulated by a radical left privately owned company, Dominion, with a bad reputation and burn equipment. The tweet came more than a week after the election was called for Biden by most major media outlets when he passed the 270 electoral college vote threshold. The president continued in his tweet tirade Sunday that Democrats stole the election for Biden. President Trump. Okay, it's getting to be time that you really need to, if there's real stuff out there, we got to get it. I know we need to play it out in the courts. There's a coalition that's built. We see that. You have people showing up. But my question is, are you done or aren't you done? If you're done, you need to get out of the way. You need to let other people move on. You need not to be the one part of this. And I see people that it's just Donald Trump. And that's not it. That is not it. There's a major realignment coming. It's been happening. That's what I tried to show you earlier. There's a different coalition being formed. It's very different than they want the Republican Party to look like or how it has looked in the past, what they want you to think it is. Another Ann Coulter. Yes, I know. I'm not a huge Ann Coulter person, but although someone in my life thought I had this big crush on her. Anyway, Ann Coulter. What America wants is Trumpism without Trump. Trumpism without Trump is what America needs in 4 years, said conservative author Ann Coulter during a lecture at the University of Texas in Austin on Thursday night, hosted by the university's Young Conservatives of Texas. In a wide-ranging speech that reached far beyond the event's proposed topic of immigration, the political commentator explained to a socially distanced crowd of 97 people why she believes the 2020 U.S. presidential election has produced the best of all possible outcomes for conservatives. The reason I'm very happy that President Trump lost, and narrowly lost, is that a second term of Trump would have killed us, Coulter says. What we want, and what I think we can get in 4 years, is Trumpism without Trump, she said. Coulter defines Trumpism as America taking care of its own people first. The left behind, the working class, the middle class, they want jobs. They want safe neighborhoods. They don't want to have to keep paying taxes for English as a second language classes and to pay for emergency rooms with a lot of illegal immigrants coming in with many health problems, she said. We have to take care of our own first. That's Trumpism. And it hasn't been tried. It certainly hasn't triumphed. Coulter opined. With Trump, he says these wild things that we get blamed for. He'd get attacked on and then actually did nothing, she explained. Trump thinks, I tweeted it, therefore it's done, Coulter said. It's ironic that he lost this election, very possibly because of cheating. Democrats cheat all the time. Trump has been talking about mail-in ballots are dangerous. They're going to steal this election. He's been talking about it probably all year, she said. Talking about it isn't the same as doing it, Coulter pointed out. Much like as he tweeted out law and order, and yet cities are still burning across the nation. He didn't do anything about it. It's like he didn't know he was president. So I think the Republicans' position in the next 4 years has to be, this is the new Republican Party. It will be Trumpism. But we're getting rid of the 8-year-old, Coulter proposed. Republicans should remain focused on populist issues, she advised, but we're going to have someone who speaks well, who is articulate, who hates the media, hates political correctness. It'll be a lot easier to push Trumpism without Trump, Coulter predicted. I'm glad he lost, she continued. I'm glad it was very, very narrow, and I'm glad we seem to have held the Senate. You better show up in Georgia. And we have definitely held the House of Representatives. That means they, Democrats, couldn't do anything terrible. My friends in California were warning me when I was totally on the Trump bandwagon, actually in 2015, after he announced his candidacy for president. In California, they were all saying, Ann, he's going to be like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He talks a good game. He'll get in. He'll become a liberal. Coulter recalled. She speculated that Trump's second term would have been even worse than the former California governor's. This would have been Arnold Schwarzenegger's second term, except even worse, she said. Jared Kushner would be out releasing criminals, passing the amnesty. It would have been an unmitigated disaster, and we'd never be able to get MAGA agenda back. Trumpism without Trump. That's the winning formula, she concluded. So, people that may not know, Ann Coulter was hit very much on the anti-illegal immigrant platform of Trump. She was a huge supporter of Trump in 2016. So it's interesting. And if anyone follows her, you would see she was very much against Trump for quite a while. And kind of the last couple of months, past few months before the election, she started to realize, hey, this socialism stuff too that the Democrats are going to have to address. And we'll talk about that on some other show, because that faction is there in that party and they need to deal with that. But I think she saw that as more dangerous than Trump. Anyway, I think it's an interesting place that we're in. Sounds like Trump might be coming around to the fact that he lost. Is that true? We'll see. The courts need to play out. If the Republicans have a play, if the Trump legal team has a play, they better play it soon, because you just put that out there, President Trump, that you lost. I get that you backed out of it, but you just put it out there. People are going to think that. And now you gave more ammunition to the psychological part of that you lost. We'll see what happens. Things are still going on. Are they winding up or are they winding down? We'll see. All right. If you like this video, give us a like. Any comments, leave them below, and share this video with your friends. Consider subscribing to the channel, folks. Thank you very much.